The general invites us today, a second suggestion is to perhaps go back to that passage in Mark where the man's ears are opened and his tongue is loosened, where Jesus heals his deafness. But as you pray with that scripture, you might take quite seriously the general's invitation to realize that maybe we're not born deaf, but we might be making ourselves deaf. That we might not be listening or opening our ears to what God might be trying to say to us. It's easy to think we're listening when we're not. I remember before I took my first vows, I had a beautiful novitiate. I loved being a novice, and I was, from the time I did the exercises, I was just so convinced that I was really called to be a Jesuit. I entered a bit later in life. And so I had a very peaceful novitiate until the very last 8-day retreat before we took our final vows. And in that retreat, by the second day, I was convinced I had made a terrible mistake with my life. And it suddenly was like the curtain parted, and I realized I had been deceived for 2 years, and I needed immediately to leave. And I talked to my spiritual director, and I said, I think I gotta leave. I can't stay. And the novice master was so good, and he said, well, Mark, this is clearly the wrong spirit. And I left thinking, of course he would say that. He's trying to get me to stay. And so I became convinced that what I needed to do was to go back to the source of my greatest consolation during the long retreat, which is, and here to understand this part of the story, you need to know that the novitiate in California is about a 35-minute bike ride from the Pacific Ocean. And during my long retreat, I would often ride this path to the ocean where I would have beautiful prayer with the Lord. And the path, you must picture it in your mind, cuts through the ugliest part of Los Angeles. So you're riding along this drainage canal through just really ugly parts of the city, and then you come out in this beautiful Pacific Ocean. So in my mind, I thought, the only way I can discern what to do is I must get up before dawn, ride to the Pacific Ocean, and there, like I had experienced in the 4th week of the exercises, I will see the risen Lord on the beach, and he will either tell me to stay or invite me to leave. Well, I got up at 4 in the morning. I'm not an early riser. I went into our garage where we had our 4 community bikes. Every single one of them had a flat tire that was not repaired. And I said to myself, this is precisely the reason I must leave this organization. Because not a single person can fix a tire that they have flat. And so I am there at 4:15 in the morning, furiously trying to repair these tires so that I can ride to the ocean, so that I can meet the Lord and confirm my vocation. So I start late, and I'm riding furiously. I am riding faster than I have ever ridden a bicycle before. And behind me, remember, I'm in California. I am riding to the west. So the sun is rising behind me. And I feel it getting lighter and lighter. And I am praying, dear Mama Mary, please stop that sun. Let me get to the ocean. I'm riding so fast, but it's getting brighter and brighter. I can feel it behind me. And I am at exactly the ugliest part of the ride. On one side of the drainage canal are these projects covered with gang graffiti In the drainage canal is garbage, old shopping carts. I remember there was a doll's head floating without the body. On the other side of the drainage canal are some of the biggest mansions in Los Angeles. You see this injustice. And it's right there that I just feel, and I look, and I stop writing, and I turn my head, and it is the most beautiful sunrise I have ever seen. Purples, yellows, violets. And this light is coming down on everything. The rich and the poor, the doll's head in the drainage canal. And there's the Lord. And he's saying, Mark, this is the society. The minima compañía. It's not perfect. And you're not perfect. But I love it all. My mercy goes on it all. It's not a perfect beach. But I am the one who calls you. And I am the one who preserves. I got on my bike and I rode back. I didn't need to go to the ocean that day. I'm still here. There's a lot of ways to be deaf. That morning, I was so convinced that I knew what I needed to do, and I knew how God needed to show up. And the grace of this last part of the retreat is to let God open our ears, to let God show us where God is leading the society.